Hi HR Nation, welcome back to another episode of the HR Leaders Podcast, the show where we explore the future of work with industry experts and HR executives in the world's leading global brands. Really excited about today's episode. Kind of reminds me of my childhood, my first ever phone that I got as well. So it brings back a lot of memories. We're joined by Stephanie Werner-Dietz, who's the Chief People Officer at Nokia. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Chris, hi. So good to be here. I'm good. Thank you.
I think
How
of
about
Nokia.
yourself?
I think of Nokia like many people, and I think of my 3210 mobile phone, the first one that I got there. It brings back a lot of memories as well. But Nokia has obviously transformed and been on a huge transformation from then to where we are now. But before we get into that, how are you? How are things? How are the family? How is everyone?
Thank you. I think we're doing fantastically well. We have not caught up with Corona yet, so I wonder if it's a question of time, but my family have been safe so far. So lucky us, so far so good. Mm-hmm. And work-wise, well, we're busy, but positively busy. Busy is good, and we have a lot of things to do, especially in Nokia. We have just launched the people strategy. Mm-hmm. So I'm super excited about that.
Amazing.
And now it's all upon delivering on it as well.
Yeah, now's the hard part.
Yeah.
We can talk about it, but now we've got to do it as well. And tell us a little bit more about your background. You know, did you choose HR? Did HR choose you? Tell us a little bit how you got started on the journey.
Yes, I have to say I clearly chose HR.
Really?
For me, it was very clear from the very beginning. I'm so much focused on people. I need to do something, a professional job that guarantees me that I deal with people all the time. And so I actually did study Chinese language and international business administration. So I had these studies. But on the business administration side, I did focus on human resources management and marketing. But it was somehow clear to me I would always like to end up more on the HR side of things in my professional life. So I studied in China, where I then also did my diploma thesis, which led me to Nokia already very early in 1996. It was that I did my diploma thesis together with Nokia and ABB at the time. Mm-hmm. And Nokia then offered me to stay on, which was really exciting. So I stayed on in Nokia, and apparently I stayed on for a pretty long time.
So how long have you been there now?
Yeah, since 96.
So how many years is that? I can't do quick maths. So how many years is that then you've been there?
96 was my studies with, so I was a student in diploma arrangement. So my real officially start date was in March 98. So 24 years.
Wow. That's almost, very uncommon, as you know, in this day and age of leaders. What would you say that kept you engaged in the role so long?
I would have never actually thought that about myself. But the thing was, I started in China. Then I came to Nokia Germany, but only for a couple of months. Then I was this great opportunity that led me to Switzerland because Nokia won a turnkey project and we needed to ramp up the whole office. There was nothing existing, and we had a couple of months to get this up and rolling and have all the engineers on board and everything. So I immediately went to Switzerland. I thought it's a great opportunity to build up a new business in the country. And from there on, I was asked if I could lead the HR management for Nokia Philippines. So I moved to the Philippines. And that was really exciting because, the 2G world at the time was booming. We had a lot of people there. We were ramping up. And there was so much to do, and it was so exciting. And after the Philippines, I was asked to lead the platform services for HR in Germany. So then after a couple of years, for the very first time, actually, I came to Germany, which then also Nokia terms became my home base as well. And from there on, though, I only stayed, I think, 2.5 years. And the new opportunity came as we had opened up a new headquarters in White Plains, New York for Nokia. So I moved on to the US. And then, I had the strategic projects for Nokia globally and worked closely with the CHRO at the time. And after some 2 years in that role, there was another opportunity that led me to Romania.
So basically, there's a trend here, clearly.
Yeah. So, and this trend was also, I did discover so many different areas of the world. And also I had from the HR, maybe always in the HR field, but I had to deal with mergers, acquisition, with regional HR management, with local management, with strategic projects. So M&A, then in Romania, I had to do some integrations of some newly acquired companies for Nokia. And I did head the region, all the countries from Hungary up to Chinese border, all the STAN countries everywhere. So, and then after that, from there on, we had this Nokia Siemens Networks business that was created, 50-50 joint venture. And I was asked again, do you want to pick up one of the business leads from the HR side? So I moved to Munich. And then I was
while having a family, by the way? Is this all, what was the situation?
Yeah, no children though. That made it a little easier.
So when you settled where you are now, then you,
Yeah, I was then the longest time, I guess, in Munich, where I took strategic HR roles for different businesses. So I had so many opportunities, and when they arose, I just jumped on them. I thought, oh, this is so cool. I have to say, my view was everything is an adventure, just go for it. And I jumped on these opportunities. But since they were so different in different countries and in different areas of HR, it never became boring, or there was always a new challenge. So that I think that is the explanation to your question, why Nokia all this time.
Yeah.
And then Nokia transformed so often themselves. We had this.
You're transforming with the business.
Exactly.
And different roles. What would you say is the biggest lessons that you learned going on that journey throughout the, it seems like there's not a continent in the world that you haven't worked in at this point. What would you say for people listening that perhaps maybe or currently on a similar journey, what are the big piece of advice or lessons learned that you'd share?
I think the first one is not to be afraid, just go for it. If opportunity comes, I never had really planned my career. I need to do this and then that in order to get here. I took it as it came, and you need to love what you're doing. I think when you love what you're doing, you usually are good at it as well. And it's fun. I think or at least I spent so much time at work, it has to be fun. And when you love what you're doing, you have fun and you're good at it, the next step eventually will come. And when it comes, I think you just take your chances. Just go with that, try it out. Usually I ask myself, okay, what can I lose? Or what if something goes wrong, what will happen? But then usually when you really think about it, it's not so much. Okay, you have a fantastic learning. It might hurt sometimes, but you get over it and you get out of it stronger. So just go for it. But eventually then what happens is you don't really fail, right? You just learn and you move forward all the time and you take your chances and jump on new things. That's what I meant also with saying I saw everything like an adventure. Take it as an adventure. You don't have to prove anybody anything. Just go what life is leading you to. And, just focus on what you love doing.
Yeah.
And then I think that's maybe a very simple recipe, but that's definitely the one I followed. And Nokia gave me all these opportunities. There was always something new that came up and you just jump and then you try to swim. But then you quickly find out, actually, I can't swim. I can actually, now I can swim quite well.
Yeah. How do you describe just your responsibilities as a CHRO? What are your responsibilities? How do you describe that to people?
Yeah, so in Nokia, I'm responsible for all people-related topics. So that includes the classic HR or core HR, as we would say, but I'm also responsible for real estate globally and for health and safety. So all people-related topics. And our objective is really to create and provide an environment where people can thrive, where they not just come to work, but they bring their full self. They learn and they have an environment where they feel psychologically safe and they can really thrive. So that's our mission, or I think that's what I feel responsible for, what we are here to provide. And then, of course, what we do is we have all the services related to in core HR and real estate and health and safety for all our employees. also learnings and trainings, and that even goes up to trainings that we provide on our products for our customers that would be also within our remit and the people organization and Nokia. And it's the end-to-end people aspect.
Yeah, you like everything as well.
Yeah, and also we helped last year, and that's, I think, very specific in terms of adding value to the business as well. We have steered the transformation of Nokia as well in the new mode of operation, and to also measure our progression on it. That's also something we have in our responsibilities as the people organization for Nokia overall as well.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned earlier, and just then, the transformation journey that you're on. Before we jump into that, what was the why? Why did you feel that you needed to completely reshift HR and start from scratch and rebuild? What was the driver behind that?
And when I took on the job, I was already thinking, what can we do differently? What's the next step to enable us for the future as an HR organization? And I looked at many, many models, but you don't change for the sake of change, right? You have to have a goal in mind, or what is it that you want to do differently? And then the opportunity came with our new CEO that started, Pekka Lundmark, who started in August 2020. And together with him, we came up with a new operating model and also a new strategic direction for Nokia. And we developed some key principles, how we're going to change the new mode of operation, what is guiding us in putting the right organization for the future in place. And here we go. All of a sudden, it was so clear to me that this is what we're going to do. We need to transform HR alongside the same principles that we have used for Nokia altogether, like, end-to-end accountability. We align to how our customers buy from us. Simplicity, efficient, align it always to our strategic thinking. So we took the same principles and said our goal is to be a more customer-centric and service-oriented people function, taking these principles. And now we have, more than 80 services that we provide to the businesses. We completely went into this new model, structured ourselves into the service lines, how customers would buy from us. Now the businesses, they are fully P&L accountable businesses. They buy from us based on what their need is and what they feel they need in order to accomplish their goals, their business strategies. And we wanted to do all of this transformation in a way that's very human focused and very aligned with the business goals. So, and basically that gave the perfect platform, I have to say. And it was also necessary to make sure that we, in HR, you always thought in the past, how do we stay relevant? How do we create value? How do we make sure that the business really values all the services we bring? Not just in one dimension, but how can we help them to be successful? How can they run their business effectively? And what's our part in that? So that change really helped us, or that focus to be business oriented, put the customer in the middle of everything, and then create these services was the triggering point. And that's what we did. And I think that was exactly what we needed, because we needed to also be ready ourselves to help Nokia to size its opportunity in the future as well. And now we are structured in a way where we can do that. We are very agile, we are flexible, we can deliver on what exactly the business needs. We can change it if it needs something else, right? And we are efficient, and we have our own clear accountability, and we are far more transparent, because we're not just a cost allocation center. Now the business knows exactly what they buy from us, what it costs. We have this full transparency. We have service catalog that describes everything, but we also at the same time can inject thought leadership and say, hey, if you buy this and we use our data analytics, for example, or our AI, we can say to the business, hey, this can help you to make even wiser decision, and this can help you to do this. So we have this all into a consultation-based, value-based service now, and that's also the path we want to make even stronger going forward. So that was the triggering point, was the overall transformation of Nokia, and then how do we make sure we we continuously add value to the business and how we can help the business, and what is that we need to transform ourselves, because we have been, I guess, more in a traditional setup. You have the business strategic partners, you have the center of expertise, you have the regions, right? And now it all came together into very clear services organization, standard services, flexible services, and so on.
So there's so much, but where do you start? So where do you prioritize? Because I think that's a big challenge for a lot of our audience.
Yeah, our prioritization now comes from the people strategy. We actually just launched the people strategy just a couple of, I think days ago, beginning of February. And that sets now the direction for us, the people strategy, and it passes now our way. And the people strategy tells us the measurement, the key initiatives, how we measure our progress, what are we doing in order in the next 3 to 5 years, really build this environment where people really thrive and where they also can focus on their skills. We are tech companies, so skills and having the latest skills and offering this growth of our people, which goes hand in hand with Nokia growth. It's so fundamentally important. So we wanted to make sure we have the people strategy, and then we really look now year by year how it sets the priorities in order to 3 to 5 years, we really get to the ultimate goal, to our ambition. But now also we have to put in phases, okay, what are the deliveries, and how, more importantly, also that's from the people organization side, right? But also how do our employees feel that something is changing? Mm-hmm. So it's not just, and that's why we have, if I could tell you a little bit on it, because I'm so proud on our people strategy, because first of all, we created that people strategy together with our employees. I think last year around May time, I've asked just by Yammer post to all our employees who wants to spend some time co-creating with us the people strategy. And we had to trim it down to 100 people. We had a lot of interest and we said, okay, let's make sure we have about from every region that we have, geography, parts of the organization, businesses, functions, that we have good representation from everywhere. And we had volunteers coming in and they started the work. And then the work was handed over to our internal people expert and external ones that we asked on certain topics. And this is how we came about this people strategy, because for us in Nokia, it's so immensely important that we really focus on our people, because the people, it's who deliver our business strategies and who deliver on our strategic commitments. So how can we not focus on our people? So now it was clear we will put people at the heart of everything we do. If we do that, then we can also make sure that we are ready as a company for the next step. And if we focus on the growth of Nokia, we also, focus on the growth of our people as well. So the first pillar from the people strategy is growing together, combining that the individual, personal growth and professional growth is combined with Nokia's overall business growth. And then we have, we call it the second pillar, leading lights. And that's about leadership. Leadership is so fundamentally important. We saw that also in the pandemic again. We need to also equip our leaders that they can really be the leading light, that they develop not only themselves, but that take the teams with them. And the basics, which we call our essentials, are so important, that they create an environment where people can be open, fearless, and fully empowered. This is very important for us, that people feel that open, empowered, and fearless, actually. And we need to have leaders who can create especially this kind of environment. And the third pillar that we have is about we belong. And this is about creating the stickiness to us in the organization, connecting us, especially in this virtual remote world, where we would say we are a purpose-driven company who creates this connection from all our colleagues to work and to us as a company. And also, of course, here, inclusion is so important, that really everybody feels included in everything what we do, and they're part of it. So we belong is a very strong pillar for us. And the last one is, we call it experience is everything, because if you don't feel it, if you don't experience what we're talking about, I think then we probably have missed everything. So tools, the digitalization, that we have the data, that we have the flexibility, working from where you find yourself most productive, to give you that freedom, that empowerment again, is part of creating the experience, especially in this hybrid world. And so that's why we concentrated on these 4 pillars. But the key theme of these 4 pillars came already up from the volunteers at the beginning. They said, what is the Nokia you want to be in? What's the Nokia that would make you thrive? And that's how we started to develop these 4 pillars. And now here they are, and I feel very, very strong about them, because it's exactly the focus points we should have to take care of our people and to put people at the heart of everything we do, and to become this really purpose-driven company that gives opportunities for growth and really make sure we take our people with us into the future, and the people actually do create our future.
Yeah,
but we need to give them the space, the room to grow. This is where we are, what we just launched. So this is definitely giving us the priorities to now on a year basis.
I love the fact that, there's so many companies that talk about people-centric, right? But there's one thing saying it and there's another thing doing it. And I love the fact that you included them in the process. And even whilst you was describing the pillars, I could see your smile and your energy, because you know that this is what you're hearing, right? And it's not just, the leadership team's opinion or their thoughts of what they think. It's actually the voices of your people that are shining through, right? And that also goes when you communicate that back to them. They're like, oh, they do listen. Well, they are aligned, right? As well. And you've created brands for each of those pillars. Again, that's something that HR I don't think does a great job in the past of creating. You mentioned you could have just said, just here's the 3 pillars, but you had the brand names for each of those pillars, and people can visualize how that connects to the business strategy personally. What does this mean for me? How does that align, right? So that's also a big part of it when it comes to communication. So when you launched, what was the strategy about how you communicate that? Because that communication is everything. And especially now when we're so apart, what was the strategy going in for that?
Yeah, we launched it, and this is a great question also. I didn't even think of it, but we actually very carefully prepared the launch, and that was together with our Q4 results and full year results announcement on February 3rd. So we took the day of announcement, our business results, and the town hall internally worldwide with all our 85,000 and more people that we have. Our CEO took the opportunity to not just launch the business results, but also the people strategy. And then it was him who kind of kicked us off. And then I took on to explain a little bit more on the details. And then every single member of our group leadership team came on stage and discussed parts of the people strategy, because this is not a people organization initiative. This is what concerns us all. Yes. Yeah. This is, maybe we were a bit driving it as a people organization, but the people strategy is 100% owned by our CEO and by the full leadership team. And that was also the strength and the beauty of that we came together and have communicated it. This is not just about HR doing something, right? It's about the whole company believing in it and executing on it. It's what the business will make the business also successful. You cannot do it without your people. Yes. So the people strategy is for all of us, and also hopefully for all the potential future employees that we will attract.
Yeah, we all own it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that you presented it in that way, because it just shows the importance. Everyone's there to see the results of the business, but the people are the business. So it should be on the same level, on the same stage with all the leaders, CEO leading the conversation. That sends a very clear message, right, to everyone as well. So what a great way to do that. That worked out very well that you could have that opportunity to do that. And you sound like you've got a great CEO leadership team that understands that
Absolutely. Our CEO was wearing a people strategy T-shirt, which he then did the business results, and then he took off his jacket saying, "Now I'm revealing the HR, the people strategy."
Again,
and
the branding, the memories. I love it.
Exactly. But also it makes it, I think, altogether more human, because in the end, it's all about the human focus, right? People, it's about being human and being us, right? So I think it always we need to pay attention to these things. Mm-hmm. You said branding, right? But it's also something that people can connect something. It's not just a human touch
behind the job title, right? The person behind the job title, the CEO. Like, and that's one thing we have seen throughout the pandemic is into people's lives, in their homes, and you get the CEO sitting there in a t-shirt, and it's humanized everyone. Exactly. And we're all the same. We all have problems and kids and crying in the background and parents to take care of, elderly parent, all of those things. It doesn't matter what your job title is, how much money you make. We're all there. So that's great to see. This all sounds great, right? But it's not easy. So, what are the sort of biggest challenges you feel like you're going to have to overcome, or you are in the process of overcoming throughout this process?
I think that what's now really is how we implement, and it's a journey, right? Where we still have to learn, but we know the direction, we have our clear goals, but now it's really to put per year, what is it now what's most important? And you can do many things, right? That's what we know. You can keep yourself in the organization extremely busy, but now it's really to filter out what has the biggest impact. And so we're launching a technical career path, because we hadn't had it for some years for some reasons. And we know that, people, we have so many excellent technical experts or subject matter expert, or no matter what expertise field in the company. But in order to make a career, they had to go to the people leading
traditional
path,
management,
which is not
roles.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to make sure, okay, now let's give them a good alternative and an equal good opportunity to make a career when you go in your technical career path. And you don't have to become a people leader in order to make a career. So we're reestablishing that, for example. Or we say, we should treat leaders that are leaders like Scrum Masters, we have project leaders, program managers, we have many leaders. Let's treat them also as many leaders. Give them the same access like the leaders who have responsibilities in a line organization or disciplinary, but treat them the same, because they're all lead people. Give them the same access to leadership trainings,
to data,
exactly, so that they can lead, and let us, treat them in the same fashion, saying they have critical leadership roles, everybody who's in that kind of role. So basically, in the end, we opened up our leadership training access to every single employee. So this is, for example, where we try.
Oh, great. So anyone at any level.
Yeah. So we really thought about, okay, what has an impact now? How can we really help the situation? And how can we not make sure that we are all running crazy or like headless chickens? We're doing a lot of things, but in the end, employees don't feel the difference, right? Or they think, oh, it's nice that you had this great people strategy, but effectively, we don't experience anything positive or no change. So we made sure now we have the right measurements in place, and we really make sure that for each pillar, we do the things that would really not just make sense, but also have an impact, and an impact that we can measure, so we know we are making progress or not. And we, of course, constantly continue to listen to our employees as well, because they know very well, what's going on, what not, and that we could see from the volunteers who created the people strategy in the first place. People know very well what, suits them well, how they can thrive, what makes them flourish, what development they need. And also they know themselves mostly best what helps them to develop. So I think it's about not continuously to listen also, and to stay open as well.
And that is in itself is the challenge.
Yeah. And that's the challenge, right? Because sometimes also you have so many things.
Yeah.
You need to see the forest for the trees, or how do you say that? You have really making sure that you don't get lost, and then you try to wanting to do everything and listen to everybody, but you cannot pay justice to everyone. Then you concentrate again, okay, what's our ultimate goal? What is the people strategy saying? And how can it help us to make the right decision?
Because then you can make a decision based on that foundation and not get lost in the new shiny things. No, is this aligned with those pillars? And what, if not, the answer is no.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it's just too much, and I get that as well. How are you measuring that the needle is moving and success? What does that look like?
I mean, the obvious one would be through our surveys, right? Engagement survey, or what's the buy-in of our purpose, or how are the leadership doing? This is, things we can survey. We want to go to more real-time measurement also here in terms of engagement. We have not all or polling or Yammer scraping. We're trying to find out new ways to get the sentiment, the feeling of the
sentiment analysis of that.
So we're going far more in that direction as well, next to the maybe more traditional survey measurements. But this is, or polling, we now do more ad hoc polling that we know, okay, on this topic, where are we? Quick response from the organization. Do we have progress, or are we completely off at the moment? So it's about this quick real-time measurement and listening into the organization that we're using, and where we're also trying out new things, I have to say. Not sure if everything we're trying out will work in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but this is how we learn. Yeah. Then measurements is, how many job rotations do we have, the normal standard measurements, or how many promotions did we have? How many learnings hours do we have per employee? How many leadership trainings were really taken?
Where's this all captured? Do you have like a centralized, are you using a people analytics suite? Which one do you use, if you don't mind me asking?
So we use normally all the Power BI dashboards.
Okay, Power BI,
for that. And then we use our self-built scorecards, employee scorecards, business growth scorecards, and also our business growth scorecards. They have already the KPIs that are also on the people side. For example, we're measuring our inclusion via inclusion survey. How do people feel in terms of being included? But also we're measuring gender diversity, how many female new employees we have hired. Or, so we are measuring different things. And some of the things we also have on the global scorecard in the businesses directly, but then also the one that's only on the people side.
But again, it all links back to those pillars.
Absolutely. It's actually categorized that way.
Yeah,
it's
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I could already probably guess, right, as well. And just interested to know, access to that dashboard, for example, the Power BI dashboard, what layers is that available to, just out of curiosity, that data? You mentioned access, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, the global scorecards are transparently and open and accessible for everyone. There's no specific team that can have it. It's for everybody in Nokia. Then we have specific dashboards for leaders where every leader has access to, so they can view, a lot of information and data relevant to leading their organization or their teams. Then we have expertise dashboards in terms of recruitment, right? Time to hire and inclusion rates. So for every hiring manager, they would have it on every level. Or we have Power BIs. What else do we have? Or when we had dashboards with COVID, and how people feel about it, in 2020. I think in March, when we started all going into lockdowns, we made public then to everyone what are the results of, do we feel connected?
Oh, nice. So everyone could see that.
So that one, for example, was again open for everyone. We try to be as transparent as possible. But we think about, of course, who needs the data, like line managers have a need for certain data. Some are specifics. But generally, we try to always say, okay, let's make it open and accessible to it and transparent for all our people.
Yeah. I know we're coming to the end of our time, so I'll ask you, there's so much great work you're doing. What are you most excited about?
I think really getting the people strategy to life, because that would be my ultimate goal, right? I sometimes can hardly wait 3 years. I have to stop myself to really, we have a plan, we have measurements.
I got to, yeah, you're like, can we speed that up? A little bit.
So
Yeah.
I think that this is what that gets me completely excited. That was be the most rewarding, that people give you feedback and say, hey, I love Nokia. This Nokia makes me feel I can give everything. I can, I have the freedom I need to do my job. I can bring myself in. I have the ideas. I can implement my ideas. I can try things out. I learn from my mistakes. I have a leader that backs me up, that helps me, a team that flourishes with me in the same direction, where I just feel that I'm growing. I have personal growth. And I have trust, and my trust and my confidence in me is growing with me, like with the whole company. I think that would be so beautiful if everybody could say that. I think it's a nice goal to have.
What a great place. Yeah, I would love to work for a company like that. As well.
Join us.
Before I let you go, I'm going to jump into our quick fire round. So I have some questions I ask all of the guests that come on as well. But you only have 30 seconds per question. Are you ready?
Yep.
What are your passions and hobbies outside of the office or work, should I say?
Not so much passions, people, and my work, but I'm also very passionate about family and friends and reading and traveling outside work.
So traveling and family time, they're definitely worthwhile passions and hobbies, of course. If you could click your fingers and change one thing about HR, what would that be?
For me, it's almost what I said before, that I wish we could already have the implementation done already 2 to 3 years further. But I think I would not change a bit of HR. I think we're on a fantastic journey. It's a great place to be in. It's a great profession. You can have so much impact. How can you have a bigger impact than with people and together with people? I think it's brilliant.
Amazing.
I wouldn't change a bit on that.
You just want to do it a little bit faster.
Yes.
Yeah. How would your family and friends describe what you do for a living? Your role. How do you think?
And my daughter would say, I spent my time in front of a laptop talking to people. She has not figured out what that's all about. But I think many friends say to me that I'm lucky that I do what I love doing. I think I actually consider myself also that I was able to find the right profession very early on, and that I'm as passionate about my job as I was 25 years ago. I think that's what people also around me say.
Yeah, not many people can say that. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. What legacy do you want to leave behind for your family and friends?
Definitely about equal opportunities. That we leave a world behind that gives these opportunity where everybody can feel included, and that everybody has equal opportunities, equal access, and that they can be themselves, and that I wish for everyone to feel trusted and confident. It's so good feeling if you can trust yourself and others, and you have this psychological safety.
Yeah.
I wish that for everyone, that we leave that behind, that we are able to give each other that.
Mm-hmm. If you wasn't working in HR, what do you think you'd be doing?
If I wasn't working in HR,
yeah, what would you think? What career do you think?
I open up my own business, because then I can set the tone for the culture and how things are.
Yeah, start my own one. That's a good answer. What would you say is the biggest investment you've made in yourself in your career that's had the biggest impact?
I think, again, trusting myself, just not expecting to do this and this, and, just follow yourself, follow your heart, do what you feel like, and, just try out things, jump on things when they come up. Don't think so much, it could be good, it could not be good, it could go wrong. Just do it.
Take the risks.
Yeah, take risks. Yeah, just do it.
Mm-hmm. Who would you say is the one person that's had the biggest impact on your career?
I think one thing is my dad, who raised me with trusting myself and following myself. I think that's very vital. And then I was, again, lucky, because all my all my line managers were people who empowered me and again, developed me, trusted me, gave me space, gave me time, and gave me development options and opportunities. And with that, I was able to grow. And I was lucky that I always had leaders who kind of let me do this, right? Who created that environment, but also gave me the opportunities, trusted me to do it, especially in early years, right? I was thinking, okay, just being sent to Switzerland, build up a company, just brand new coming in, just had my China thesis work behind me and some other things, but but they already trusted me to be able to build up a business and create a new startup of a company somewhere. I think you grow with that. You grow also with that trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It empowers you, right?
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
Motivated, and they're just going to get out the way, allow you to fail, and you learn from there. And I was thinking before, who is this person that gave you this kind of unwavering confidence and desire? And obviously, we found out now that was your dad.
Yeah, right? Definitely my dad.
Just go for it, right? There's always someone, right? Whenever I speak to people like yourself, and that was like, there's someone behind. It's normally their parents or someone in their life that said, just go for it, and has been that inspiration, or to set that example, right? Yeah. Doing it. So absolutely love that. And then
you need that belief.
Go on, sorry.
So you need that belief. I think it's like this statement or the saying that you set the limits of the sky, no one else. The limits only is what you are setting, no one else.
Sky's the limit, believe to achieve, to do it. And then last question, what advice would you give to the HR leaders of tomorrow?
Stay open. Again, start with yourself, trust yourself, be open, listen, stay agile. It will not be a perfect world. Actually, people matters, often gray zone matters, right? There's no clear black and white. And I think it's about getting yourself feeling okay with that. Because it brings you constantly out of comfort zones. And there's constantly new experience and new things that come up, like with the pandemic, but it will be okay. I think it's, again, stay optimistic, stay positive, and stay trusting in yourself and trusting in the people around you and also the people you lead. There will always new ways coming up. We will always figure out, there will always be a next step and so on. And we will figure it out. And we might not know. I think it's this leading in an unknown world. It's not predictable, but you know what? It's okay. That's not predictable.
That's the exciting part sometimes, right? That's it. Yeah. It's like one of the things I saw a long time ago, which stuck with me, is like seek discomfort. Is like the saying, or find comfort in discomfort, because if you can build that muscle, and that is a muscle, I think, that resilience that you can build. And also you realize that it doesn't feel that way at the time. It doesn't feel good, but then that's really where the real momentum and growth happens, right? In the world, personally, professionally. Again, some of the great silver linings of the pandemic. There's been incredible things that are happening in organizations now that have been driven by, obviously, a terrible 2 years that we've been through, and many horrible things, but there's also been some incredible advancement in the focus around mental health and well-being, hybrid work, and many things. Absolutely. That as well. So we have to focus on those things and control the controllables. Don't worry about all those other things you can't control. But you know what? I think that's a good point to leave it there. But thank you so much for joining me. I've really enjoyed the conversation, and I'm really excited. And I think we should schedule in like a part 2 in 3 years.
Exactly. See where we are.
But maybe 2 years. Maybe you give me a call and say, Chris, you know what? But by the way, on another note though, there is no end date. This work continues. You have a 3-year plan, but as we know, that's another thing not to get caught up on, dead dates and deadlines. These aren't things that are linear, that, there's an end. This work continues to evolve, right? Yes, we need a plan in place. But we'll just talk in 3 years, and the world will be in a different place. The organization will be in a different place.
Yeah.
And there'll be
already next year.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what's exciting. And it's why I know since I was 17, I've been speaking to HR professionals, and from where were the conversations I was having now, then to where we are now, it's like, it's not even recognizable. The conversations, the work that's being done, but that's exciting as well. But listen, I wish you all the best with everything, and I look forward to doing this again soon. But bye for now. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chris. Thanks for having me.